Good evening, dear students. Now, today I am going to revise your topic of E. coli. As you all know, E. coli is a gram negative bacilli which is straight, rod shaped, and it measures about 1 to 3 micrometer by zero point 0.4 to zero point 0.7 micrometer. It can be arranged singly or sometimes in pairs. It is a motile bacilli because it has got peritrichate flagella. Peritrichate flagella means the flagella is all around its body. Although some strains are non-motile also. The capsule and fimbria are also found in the virulent strains. What are the virulent strains? Those strains which cause disease. Now, as you can all see, this is a picture of gram-negative bacilli and it is E. coli. Now coming to the cultural characteristics. This bacteria grows aerobically and it is a facultative anaerobe. The temperature ranges from 10 to 40 degrees centigrade, optimum being 37 degrees centigrade. On ordinary media, it grows well. The colonies that appear after incubation are large, grayish white, moist, smooth, opaque, partially translucent, and discoid. The smooth forms, which are called as the S forms, are seen on fresh isolation and they are easily emulsifiable in saline. The rough forms give an appearance of a irregular dull surface. On blade agar, sometimes they show hemolysis. On McConkey media, the colonies are bright pink due to lactose fermentation. On broth, that is the liquid media, the growth occurs with a uniform turbidity and a heavy deposit which generally disperses completely on shaking. Now this is a slide of growth of E. coli on McConkey agar showing lactose fermenting smooth pink colored colonies. Now coming to the biochemical reactions. Biochemical reactions include the glucose, lactose, mannitol, maltose and several other carbohydrates are fermented with the production of acid and gas. Next is the antigenic structure. Antigenic typing of E. coli or serotyping as we call it is based on three antigens. First is the somatic or O antigen, second is the flagellar or H antigen, and third is the capsular or K antigen. Also there can be fimbrial or F antigens. The O antigen, which is the somatic antigen, has been recognized and denoted as 1, 2, 3 to number 170. These are lipopolysaccharides in nature that are heat stable. The H antigen or flagellar antigen include 75 H antigens so far has been recognized and they are heat labile in nature. About 100 capsular antigens have been recognized till date. They are acidic in nature, polysaccharides located on the envelope. The F antigen is important for the virulence factors. They are heat labile in nature and they generally get detached when the temperature is increased to 100 degrees centigrade. Now coming to the virulence factors, it includes the surface antigens, the somatic lipopolysaccharide O antigen shows endotoxic activity. This is responsible for protecting the organism from phagocytosis and also the bactericidal effects of complements. The fimbriae are important for initial attachment and colonization. The colonization antigens or colonization factor antigens are enterotoxinogenic in nature. Enterotoxinogenic means affecting the intestines. So they cause human diarrhea. And the fimbriae are also important for adherence of organism in the urinary tract infections. The P. fimbria, which is seen in uropathogenic strains, binds specifically to the P blood group substance on human erythrocytes and the uroepithelial cells. Two kinds of exotoxins are produced by E. coli, that is the hemolysins and the enterotoxins. The enterotoxins are important in pathogenesis of diarrhea, while the hemolysins do not appear to be relevant in pathogenesis. The heat labile toxin resembles the cholera toxin in structure and the antigenic properties and the mode of infection. It is a complex of polypeptide subunits. Now coming to the clinical manifestations, E. coli generally causes urinary tract infections. It also causes diarrhea. It also causes septicemia, neonatal sepsis, meningitis, and pyogenic infections. Meningitis is the inflammation of meninges, and pyogenic infections include those infections which are responsible for formation of pus. Now coming to the lab diagnosis, the specimen which is generally collected for diagnosis of E. coli is urine. A clean, voided, midstream sample of urine is cultured. In men, it is collected after the prepuce is retracted and the gland span is cleaned with wet cotton. In women, the anogenital toilet is important and it should consist of careful cleaning with water. Next, we can do the antimicrobial susceptibility test. E. coli and other common urinary pathogens develop a drug resistance frequently, so the isolates are often resistant to multiple antibiotics. Further, we can do screening for UTI. This includes the catalase test, triphenyl tetrazolium chloride test, dip slide culture test, and grease nitrite test. So this is in brief about E. coli. If you have got any problem, you can discuss with me on my personal WhatsApp number. Okay, thank you.